Okay, so I've never done true crime before, so I'm going to do a true crime video today. This is the cold case of Owen Crabbe. Here we go. Okay, so this crime happened 34 years ago. Now, his name, as you can see the photo that I put up, Owen Gabe. Now, Owen Gabe was 57 at the time, so he was a Brisbane storeman. Owen Gabe spent his weekend away on the Gold Coast, clubbing and shopping, which is what all tourists do here. So he's from Brisbane, so now, Brisbane is up north from the Gold Coast. So I live on the Gold Coast. So I think it's about 74 k's away. It's not far at all. It's one of our major cities here in Australia. So he was born and bred Brisbane, but he'd come down to the Gold Coast to basically party, and you'll find out why in a sec. And yeah, the Gold Coast is, they call it Sin City. It's pretty sinful. It's full of nightclubs, alcohol, strippers, lots of, a smaller version of Vegas, really. The crime rate's pretty high. It's getting that's one of the reasons why I'm actually moving from the coast. But anyway, on Sunday, May the 30th, 1982, his naked, bashed body was found by cleaners in a luxury Surfers Paradise high-rise apartment. His throat had been slashed with a long-bladed knife. Now, his jeans also were found wrapped around his neck. And he was brutally murdered. He was, you find out later, he wasn't punched, he was actually kicked several times. So the 57-year-old father, okay, so he's got a son. All I know is that he's got a son. Had become a regular visitor to the Sin City, Glitter Strip, and spent his time at the Surfers Beachcomber Holiday Inn. After splitting from his wife and becoming openly and actively gay. So you got to remember, back in the 80s and early 90s, this happened a lot. A lot of men who got married had children, because that's what society asked of them and their families, and they hid their true gay agenda, and later on couldn't live the lie anymore, and so many families were broken and broken-hearted. It was not good. It's not good. I'm so, even though I'm a Christian, I'm so glad that today gay people, like myself, do have it open for us, that we don't have to do this and hurt people and lie anymore. Just don't lie. It's not worth it. But he got out of it. I do believe, from what I can gather, his wife and children were actually fine about it. So he came out as gay, divorced his wife, and he basically lived his life to the fullest. Now, on his last visit to the high-rise apartment, he was given an off-peak 20% voucher for spending more than 2 nights at the Hanlon Street building. So I've given you a past photo of the Beachcomber. I've actually stayed there. I didn't stay on the 27th floor. I don't remember which floor I stood on. And it's been upgraded. It's still the high-rise, but the front's been upgraded, of course, since 82. So on May the 29th, he was known for his neat gauchy beard, and he was very meticulous the way he looked. He arrived by bus from Brisbane at the Beachcomber and paid $40 a night for his 27th floor views. $40 a night back in 82. Can you believe it? $40. I think that's probably about $240 to stay there. But the bargain deal proved fatal when police believe he died from a frantic but futile fight with a killer martial arts expert. Now, why they call him a martial arts expert is Owen was not punched or anything. He was severely kicked. So they could obviously tell from his autopsy that these kicks were martial art kicks, and there was lots of them. So his throat was slashed, jeans was put around his neck. Why? Or around his head? I don't know. I don't think even the police know why the killer did that. The police found Mr. Crabbe in a pool of blood, and Detective Inspector Kevin Dorries said at the time of the murder the unit was also splattered by blood, but not all of it belonged to Mr. Crabbe. Now this is where it gets interesting, because in the 80s, I think DNA was being tested. Now, with what they can do with DNA, they actually have a profile, because this blood was the killer's. There was a lot of the killer's blood there. A bed had been overturned, furniture was knocked over, and cushions were scattered around the room, detectives said. There must have been a fierce struggle before he died. Mr. Crabbe had numerous cuts on his head, smashed nose, broken jaw and cheek, a cut windpipe, and his trousers were tied around his neck. Police said the killer may have been a martial arts expert due to Mr. Crabbe's injuries being from kicks rather than punches. Mr. Crabbe was last seen alive at the Connection nightclub about 12:30 a.m. on Sunday, May 30th. Now, I've stayed in that place where you stayed, the Beachcomber, and these places he went to when I first moved up here, I think they closed down a couple of years after, but me and my friends used to go to these places. The Friday before his death, he was spotted with a man believed to be in his mid-20s at Surfers Paradise Flash's nightclub. We've been to Flash's nightclub. Now, this gentleman apparently was in his 20s. Now, police initially thought the younger man had become angered by Crabbe's sexual advances and murdered him. A sketch of the prime suspect with shoulder-length brown fuzzy hair was released to the public. So this is the photo. Now, apparently his name is Michael. Now, when Owen booked the Beachcomber, he normally, when he goes down the Gold Coast, books one, but this time he booked for 2 guests. And he must have told someone or a couple of friends he was meeting up with this man called Michael. Now, that's all any of us, including police detectives, know. Detective Senior Constable David Nichol, dealing with this case 10 years ago, said Mr. Crabbe had arrived at the apartment alone but had made a booking for 2 people. He had told others that a new friend of his was going to be joining him on the coast a day or so later, he said. The identity of the friend remains unknown, but investigations believe his name may be Michael. And we should still like to speak to this person as we believe he may possess information that can assist in the investigation. Now, it was later thought that the murder may have also been related to money, because when Owen got to the Gold Coast, he went to an ATM or a bank, whatever, and he took out, $665. Now, back in 82, 83, that was a lot of money. $665 was a lot of money. But when his body was found, days later, there was only 20 cents in the apartment. All the money was gone. The money has never been found, and Owen is to be believed to have spent money on clubbing, shoes and food. So there is no way he's gone through all that amount of money, because that was a lot of money in the 80s. Police spokesman said the investigation remains open and encourage anyone with information to contact Crime Stoppers. Now, I'll put Crime Stoppers number on below of my video, because on top of all that, his son, who was 13 at the time, he wants closure. He wants to find out who did this to his father, so his father can rest in peace, and he'll have some closure and hopefully some healing, and his family needs his healing. But on top of all that, there is the $500,000 reward for any information to find this murderer. Now, me watching a lot of crime shows, 99% of people who commit murders and think they got away with it, they can't keep it to themselves. They tell someone, even when they're stoned or drunk. They have to relive it because that's their thrill. If they don't go out and become a serial killer and constantly do it, it's their thrill. I know this person has told someone. Now, if that person is watching this video, let's weigh it up here. You can ring up Crime Stoppers and be anonymous if you know who did this, and let this family have some peace, and you receive $500,000. Or you can keep this person's identity and let a killer be free. Which I don't think any of us thinks that would be a good idea, would it? So weigh it up, whoever you are. You can collect $500,000 or dob in this asshole. So that's the story of Owen Crabbe. So I hope my first true crime story, I enjoyed actually doing it. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and let's find the killer of this poor gentleman. So until next time, I will be going camping next month, so there'll be a great video on that one. I might do a couple more true crime ones, because a lot of them keep on coming out now that I've looked at it. So anyway, I'm Greg. I'm going to say goodbye, and until next time, stay well, stay safe, God bless, and bye-bye for now. Bye.
The warnings lined the edges between